Outside the Box Reviews, we're taking a look at the Universal Select Universal Monsters Wave 5, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And as I kind of talked about at the end of the Wolfman review, this is the beginning, or maybe the beginning, of Universal Select going back and redoing some characters they did very early on. The original Creature came out in Wave 1, and while I was happy with that figure, when I saw they were doing a updated, more articulated, more accurate version, I was pretty excited. The Gillman is one of my favorite Universal monsters. I've gone and checked out filming locations for this film just to actually see where it was shot. I have an autographed picture from the guy who played the creature. So anything I can get that's Creature from the Black Lagoon related, I'm pretty excited for. So let's dive right into the Black Lagoon and take a look at this figure. The display base for the creature is one I'm a little torn on because I love the concept of it. It's got this very colorful base with all kinds of underwater plants going on. We got some little ferns here in the back, some kind of coral looking stuff up here in the front. We have a human skeleton kind of decomposing here on the bottom. We've got 2 foot pegs, even though this back one's a little hard to actually get into his foot because of this coral piece. We have an algae-ridden rock outcropping and this little wave off to the side with some fish in it, which I think it's a little cheesy because it's like water, what you'd see underwater, but overall, it's a pretty cool display base. My only problem with it is the color choices, specifically coming down to where these fish are in this little part and the coral. It looks a little like something I'd put in my aquarium, but maybe that's intentional. It kind of works, but it's not a bad display base by any means, just kind of an odd coloration to it. Because we're going to be doing a lot of this in this episode, here's the original base for the first creature they released, which is more of an above the water scene. I think it kind of works. We have an above water creature and a below water creature. Was played by 2 different actors, so it kind of works in that respect as well, and just a very different way to display him. And here we have our side-by-side comparison of the Gillmen, and it really surprised me how much more detail they've crammed into this new version. First off, I'm going to talk about the coloration because that seems to be an area that fans are a little bit torn on. I haven't seen anybody referring to it specifically with this figure, but as far as fan art of the creature goes, a lot of people portray him as Universal selected in this first one with the yellow underbelly there. There are some promotional photos from the filming of the original creature that show him with the green underbelly as shown with this new figure, and I can't quite tell you whether that's a colorized photo or if that's an actual color photo. I really don't know, but there is strong evidence to suggest that the green is the intended color. The other major thing I wanted to look at is the differences in the head sculpt here. I'd always liked the original figure. I thought it looked fine. It had that vacant, fishy expression, but looking at this new one, it kind of takes it up a notch. I think it looks a lot more suit accurate, and while maybe it looks a little more fake and costumey, it definitely looks more like the one in the movie. I really like the amount of detail. I like they made the eyes a little more colored in, all the lines and wrinkles through the face, even some detail on the inside of the mouth, which is very nice to have. Some nice gills flowing off the side. Of course, that's required for this character. Got the big fin coming down his back that splits at the back. He's got much broader shoulders this time around. I love the paint on him. Just all these layers of greens and a little bit of brown and yellow thrown in there really brings out all the scales on him, making him look very cool and very menacing. He's got his giant mitt hands here, the webbing in between. Very, very nicely done. He's got the frill going on the side of his arm. Kind of more armored looking texture on the legs. And one thing I noticed here that I hadn't noticed before, it is on the other figure, but kind of cuts off about mid-shin here and then becomes a different texture coming down. That is actually accurate. The suit stopped here and then the flippers were kind of a separate part, so nice to see that's actually sculpted detail in there to bring that to life. Coming down to the feet. Feet are very nicely done, but on mine I have 2 left feet. Now, I've already contacted Diamond's customer service. They were incredibly quick in responding to me. And I believe I have a new Gillman on its way to me in the mail. I just haven't gotten it yet, and I kind of needed to get this review shot to stay on schedule. But I will at least post to Facebook confirming that I got a new one that worked. But still, even with the wrong foot on there, you could see the way I could tell is because this little thumb toe, I guess, we'll call it the big toe, but it's not the big toe. It's a little toe on this figure. Both of them are on the same side. Then we have some decent detailing on the bottom as well, which is pretty impressive. Now, articulation is where this figure really shines. He has a ball joint at the head, he can go left and right, you can kind of tilt it a little bit, and he has a hinge at the neck so he can look down quite a bit more. He can't look up because of these fins in the back. If this would have been a softer rubber material, it would have been really awesome to get him to look up, but can't do that here. Pin socket shoulder, can go in and out, forward and back very easily. We have a swivel at the upper bicep. We have a hinge at the elbow, probably about 45 degrees. It will also rotate, which is something I don't understand with these Diamond Select figures as to why they do 2 rotational joints in the arm. I'm guessing you're probably just supposed to use the bicep, but it weirds me out that the elbow will as well. The wrist is great. It will actually swivel side to side as well as hinge, so you can get some awesome poses out of that. The torso has 2 separate ball joints, 2 different sections, so you can rotate and bend him quite a bit. Once again, wishing we had rubberized fins in the back so he could arch his back more, but you could definitely crunch him down. You could definitely rotate him side to side, which is awesome. Legs, kind of more that DCUC style, so you can go forward and back. Back's a little hindered as well. And then you can go out to the side in that separate hinge. Not super far, but enough. The creature's not that acrobatic anyway. We have a nicely disguised swivel joint up here at the mid-thigh. And I must admit, the one up at the bicep is pretty well hidden as well. The armor comes down and just kind of covers everything up, which I think is great. A bend at the knee, probably about 45 degrees again. And then a hinge at the foot with a slight ankle pivot. And overall, I absolutely love this figure. This is a great entry in the Universal Select line, and I'll say it again, I hope they go back and do some more of these Wave 1 figures with this better articulated, better detailed style. It's just very, very well done. Absolutely amazing. If you're a Creature from the Black Lagoon fan, you can't go wrong with this thing. I think even if you have 2 of the same feet, you're still not going wrong with this thing because it's that cool of a figure. I would recommend getting the correct feet on him. Hey, you know what? It's not a deal breaker. It's that good. And as you can see here, you can actually kind of pose him on his display base where he's swimming, which is probably how I'm gonna have him posed, and it's just gravy on top of everything else. So very, very high recommend on this figure. Now, this is the deluxe version, the one you get at comic shops through previews exclusively, not the Toys R Us version. Toys R Us is the same body, same figure, just with its own smaller, less detailed display base. So if you want the figure, you have 2 options for it, but if you want this base, and the base really redeems itself just for this pose here, go with the comic shop version. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, it's been our Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.